Laura Cole arrived home through the garage and called out for her husband, Daniel, but received no response. She made her way to the bedroom to change into something more comfortable. That's when she noticed Daniel lying on the bed, apparently napping. "Wake up, sleepyhead," she called, her voice firm. She tugged the covers off him and froze. Her eyes widened as she took in the sight. Daniel was wearing a red dress, his face adorned with makeup. "Daniel," she exclaimed, shaking him. "What on earth are you wearing? Who did your makeup? Talk to me." He stirred groggily and mumbled, "I overslept." "I can explain." "Shoes on, come to the dining room." "We need to talk," she interrupted sharply. "I'll change first," he started, but she cut him off. "No, keep it on. I've already seen everything. Just come with me." Daniel reluctantly walked into the dining room, now in matching red heels. Laura crossed her arms, her stare unflinching. "Explain this," she demanded. "That dress isn't mine." "Where did you even get it?" Daniel took a shaky breath, his voice barely above a whisper. "It started when I was 9. My sister, who's a year older, had some beautiful dresses. One day, when I was home alone, I tried one on. I liked the way it felt and stayed in it for about an hour before hanging it back. But I tried her dresses again later. She caught me once and insisted I keep wearing them. Whenever our parents were out, she made me wear them." His cheeks flushed with embarrassment. "One day, Mom came home early and saw me in a dress. She made me wear it for 3 days as a punishment, but I kind of enjoyed it. My sister kept making me wear her dresses until she moved out when I turned 18. 2 years later, I got married, but after 9 months, I couldn't resist anymore. I bought my first outfit. No one questioned it at the store. They probably assumed it was for a girlfriend or wife." Laura remained silent, her gaze steady. "I bought all my makeup at a store far away so no one would recognize me," Daniel continued. The cashier never said a word. "I'm sorry you had to discover this like this, but now it's out, and in a way, it feels like a relief." Laura studied him carefully. "How many outfits do you have?" she asked. 6 dresses, 4 bras, 2 slips, 6 pairs of underwear, and 3 pairs of heels," he said, almost apologetically. "I've kept them hidden in the back of the spare bedroom closet." Laura's eyes lingered on his makeup, noting the skill in its application. "You've clearly practiced," she murmured. She straightened and her voice grew more practical. "Since you seem comfortable in these clothes, here's the plan. I'm the one working in this house, so you'll take over cleaning, cooking, and laundry. Hang the laundry outside to air out. You'll also handle the groceries. If you can't manage that, then, well, you can leave, but only dressed like this." Daniel felt his heart sink, but he nodded. "I can live with that," he said, though uncertainty lingered in his voice. "You'll wear dresses from now on, no men's clothes." "I thought I married a man, but I was mistaken." "Pack up your men's clothes tomorrow. I'll decide what to do with them." A long silence followed. Finally, Daniel asked quietly, "So, you're staying?" "I'm staying," Laura replied. Then she added, almost teasingly, "But don't you think this is a little extreme? You've never hurt anyone, and you've never worn a dress outside the house." Laura let out a light laugh. "Look at it this way, you're about to start a new adventure." Daniel felt trapped, the same way he had felt under his mother and sister's rules years ago. The next morning, Daniel woke before Laura. As she stirred, she noticed him changing into his undergarments and couldn't help but be impressed. He was wearing pieces far more delicate and feminine than anything she owned. She watched him fasten his bra with practiced ease, clearly experienced in this routine. He slipped on a black lace-trimmed slip, the fabric stretching comfortably, and tucked something into the cups, though Laura couldn't tell what. He left the room, and Laura found herself curious about the dress he would choose today, wondering what he had picked out for his outfit. She got up, dressed, and made her way to the kitchen just as the coffee finished brewing. She poured herself a cup and sat down beside him. "Today, you'll handle cleaning the house and picking up the groceries," she instructed, handing him some money. "There's a nail salon next to the grocery store. Here's $2, get a manicure and add some color to your nails. And I expect the house to be spotless when I get home." "I'll take care of everything," he promised, and she left for work. Daniel started with the living room. When he finished, he surveyed it proudly, pleased with how tidy it looked. Next, he made the bed and cleaned the bedroom, vacuumed the carpet, dusted surfaces, and polished the furniture. The bathrooms were next, and he approached the task with quiet satisfaction, enjoying the sense of accomplishment. By lunchtime, all the chores were complete. After a light meal, he washed the dishes and headed out to the grocery store. Though he wasn't thrilled about going out, he pushed himself forward. At the store, nobody said anything to him. A few people glanced his way but quickly moved on, seeming completely unbothered. Daniel's confidence grew. At checkout, the cashier smiled and said, "Have a nice day, ma'am." He returned the smile, loaded the groceries into the car, and then stopped by the nail salon. He was seated immediately and thoroughly enjoyed his first manicure. When the technician asked if he wanted color, he replied, "Yes, something nice, please." She returned with a striking red, which he couldn't stop admiring. Driving home, he kept glancing at his nails, pleased with his choice. Once the groceries were put away, he set up dinner in the slow cooker and took a moment to relax. When Laura came home and saw the living room, she was astonished. It gleamed. The bedroom was equally impressive. She woke Daniel and asked how he had managed such a thorough job. "I can never get it this clean," she admitted. Daniel smiled and said, "That's my little secret." She laughed and playfully nudged him on the arm. At dinner, her eyes fell on his nails. "Wow, your nails look wonderful. That color is so feminine," she said. "How was the manicure?" "It was very relaxing," he replied. "I might keep getting them, even without color. But I really love the color." Laura gave him a firm look. "Color every time. I don't care if your men's clothes are packed away, nail color is non-negotiable." He nodded nervously. "I don't think wearing a dress every day is necessary." Laura's expression hardened. "I think you should wear a dress every day." The conversation shifted to dinner. "How did you make this pork roast?" "It's delicious. There's something in the flavor I can't quite place." "I'll tell you later," Daniel said with a smile. "Did you pack your men's clothes?" "Yes, they're in boxes in the spare bedroom," he replied. "What do you want me to do with them?" "After you finish the dishes, put them in my trunk," she instructed. "I might take them to a thrift store." "Don't rush," he said. "I might need them someday." "I'll think about it," Laura answered. After dinner, he washed the dishes and loaded the boxes into her trunk, wondering how long it would take for her to change her mind. He decided to unwind with a bubble bath, feeling fully relaxed as the warm water and bubbles enveloped him. On a whim, he shaved his chest, underarms, and legs, and neatly trimmed his intimate area. He called to Laura to help check his back, and she smiled at the sight of his smooth chest. With her assistance, he was completely hairless from neck to waist, except for a small area near his intimate region. The next day, he visited a self-service shoe store and picked out a pair of black flats with a cute bow on the toe, planning to wear them while shopping. At a clothing store, he selected a skirt and sweater set he liked, along with a delicate nightgown. Back home, he tried on the outfit and admired how it looked. Deciding it was the right time to do laundry, he went outside to hang the clothes. As he worked, Mrs. Jacobson, the neighbor, called over to him. He walked over to the fence to greet her. "Oh, it's you." "I thought it was Laura," Mrs. Jacobson said, smiling. "When did your hair get so long?" "It's a wig," Daniel replied. "Laura insists I wear these clothes, so here I am." Mrs. Jacobson beamed. You look wonderful. That pink sweater is lovely. Who does your makeup? I do it myself, he said. It's not as tricky as it seems, maybe I just have a knack for it. I have to admit, you look better as a woman than you did as a man, she said warmly. Where did you get those black flats? They're adorable. I bought them at the self-service shoe store on Oak Street, Daniel explained. They were inexpensive, and I plan to get another pair soon. Mrs. Jacobson nodded. Why don't you come over for coffee tomorrow morning, after Laura leaves for work? That sounds perfect. I love coffee, Daniel said. I'll see you then. She returned inside, and Daniel felt a sense of relief. Mrs. Jacobson hadn't mocked him and seemed to accept his outfit. He went back inside, glanced at the fridge for dinner ideas, but nothing appealed. He decided to visit the grocery store instead. While browsing the meat section, a woman asked him about his flats. He explained where he got them, and she thanked him, paying no attention to the fact he was a man. He finished shopping, grabbed the spices he needed, and returned home. Feeling industrious, he decided the dining table needed polishing. He worked on it until it gleamed, enjoying the shine. When Laura came home, she sniffed the air. Something smells good, she said, then noticed the table. How did you make it shine like that? At dinner, Laura asked, do you have a feminine name? No, I've never thought about it, Daniel admitted. Do you have any suggestions? Laura paused, considering. There was a girl I had a crush on in grade school. Her name was Claire Beth. I think it suits you. Claire Beth, he repeated slowly. I guess that's okay. Not sure I really need a new name though. Of course you do. Laura insisted. You're radiating femininity now, a feminine name is just the next step. Daniel sighed but agreed. All right, Claire Beth it is. How was your day? Laura asked. Fiona Jacobson invited me over for coffee tomorrow morning, Daniel said. Laura raised an eyebrow. Fiona is a flirt. You better behave. I'll be on my best behavior, Daniel promised. Laura smiled playfully. Is that a new outfit? It looks great on you. That sweater really flatters you. Pink suits you. The next morning, after Laura left for work, Daniel went over to the Jacobson house. To his surprise, 5 other women were already there. Fiona explained it was their usual coffee gathering. The women gathered around, and one asked how Daniel got his eyeliner so precise. He began to explain, but Fiona suggested an eyeliner pencil so he could demonstrate. He showed them his technique, and the woman thanked him, saying she'd never considered applying it that way. Another woman asked about his hair, and he explained it was a wig. She complimented how realistic it looked and how much she liked the style. After the group left, Daniel and Fiona were alone. He mentioned how much he enjoyed talking to everyone, and Fiona assured him he'd fit right in. Daniel noted that none of the women seemed to notice he was a man. Fiona smiled knowingly. They all knew, she said. Daniel was surprised. She gave him a firm look and told him she expected him at the coffee group every morning. He hesitantly agreed. Fiona smiled brightly, and Daniel left before anything else could happen. Back home, he decided to make roast chicken for dinner, seasoning it carefully and adding stuffing before placing it in the oven. After a light lunch, Laura complimented the chicken's flavor. I just experimented with some spices, Daniel said. Glad it worked out. Keep it up, I love your cooking, Laura replied. During dinner, Daniel told her all about the coffee group. Laura wondered if he truly wanted to join, but decided he was an adult and could make his own choices. The next morning, he wore a floral print dress with a sweetheart neckline. As he sipped his second cup of coffee, Laura commented that his hair might be long enough to style, though he disagreed. Once she left for work, Daniel headed to the coffee group. Only 4 women were there that day, and they spent time gossiping about someone absent. Daniel was taken aback by some of the things they said, especially since they were all supposed to be friends. When he returned home, he started a beef roast with potatoes and carrots in the slow cooker, made the bed, and did the laundry. By the time Laura arrived, supper was ready. As they ate, Laura said, "I made an appointment for you at Precious Lady Beauty Parlor tomorrow at 11. They'll see if they can give you a more feminine hairstyle. After that, you can retire the wig." "Where is it?" Daniel asked. "On the corner of Maple and Main Street." "You can't miss it," Laura said. "Make sure you're there at 11. "Okay, but I don't think my hair is long enough," Daniel replied nervously. "Let them decide," Laura answered. "Just let them do their thing." The next morning, right after the coffee group, Daniel went to the beauty parlor. He arrived 10 minutes early, and the receptionist immediately asked if he was Claire Beth. He nodded, and she offered him a cup of coffee, which he gladly accepted. A young stylist led him to a chair. "I know exactly what you're hoping for," she said confidently. She removed his wig, assessed his hair length, and smiled. "We can work with this. You're getting a perm," she announced. "The goal is to make you look as feminine as possible." After shampooing his hair, she began the perm process, rolling his hair and securing a plastic cap. Then she studied his face carefully. "Your makeup needs adjustment, and your eyebrows could use some shaping," she said. She removed his existing makeup and began to shape his eyebrows. It was uncomfortable as she plucked each hair, but Daniel gritted his teeth and endured it. Once finished, she carefully reapplied his makeup, explaining the colors and why they suited his complexion. "Most people choose shades that don't complement their skin," she said. When the stylist finished the makeup, she checked the perm and had Daniel sit under the dryer. Afterward, she removed the rollers, brushed, combed, and sprayed his hair, adding sparkles at his request. Turning him toward the mirror, Daniel was stunned by his reflection. He looked transformed, marvelous even, and he told her so. The stylist handed him a flowered pouch containing the makeup she had used, along with his purse. Daniel placed the pouch inside, thanked her warmly, and she gave him a card, saying to ask for her by name next time. He promised he would. Back home, Daniel couldn't stop looking at himself in the mirror. He was amazed by the transformation and lost track of time. When Laura came home, she was astonished. She loved his updo with the blonde streaks and sparkles, and the new makeup made him look completely different. She kissed him and asked if he had started dinner. He hadn't, but promised to make a quick meal. Laura suggested he put on the blue evening dress they had planned for a night out. They went to the Pine Tree Supper Club, but at the bar, Craig Money approached. He recognized Daniel, called him a derogatory name, and threw a punch that knocked Daniel down. Daniel hit his arm on the bar as he fell and lay on the floor for a moment, unsure whether to get up. Slowly, he rose. The police arrived, arrested Craig for assault, and asked Daniel if he was okay. Daniel mentioned that he thought his arm might be broken, and an ambulance was called. At the emergency room, Daniel had to give his real name for insurance purposes. The ER staff didn't comment on his outfit. X-rays revealed a fracture just above his wrist. A nurse helped him remove the dress, complimenting the slip and asking where he got it. Daniel explained, and she mentioned she'd visited that store before but found it expensive. "You have to shop the sales," he said with a smile. When Laura arrived, she was worried. Daniel explained that he needed a cast. She suggested he go back to wearing his men's clothes, but he reminded her that she had taken all of them to the thrift store. She clarified that the boxes were still in her trunk, and he said he would think about it. A police officer checked on him and updated him that the charge against Craig was now assault with injury. The officer explained that this meant Craig would face a higher fine and likely pay for Daniel's medical expenses, along with compensation for pain and suffering and possibly loss of companionship. After the officer left, the doctor applied a cast to Daniel's arm and advised him to see his own doctor within 3 days for a follow-up. Back at home, Laura quickly prepared dinner, and as they ate, Daniel spoke up. "You know, Charlie always gave me a hard time. He was the office bully. Most people were more afraid of him than not. I never thought he'd get violent over me wearing a dress. I always assumed he was just loud, not aggressive. Maybe he had too much to drink tonight and wasn't thinking clearly. That might explain everything." Laura nodded thoughtfully. "I think you're right. Once, he yelled at me too, but he came back a few hours later to apologize. He's not a bad person, just quick-tempered. There are others like him, though. I don't want you getting hurt again. For my sake, can you please go back to your men's clothes in public?" Daniel hesitated, then said, "I suppose I can, but I really enjoy wearing dresses." Laura smiled warmly. "You can wear them here at home and to your coffee gatherings, but not out in public where something worse could happen." Daniel nodded. "That makes sense. But what about my hair?" Her expression softened. "Go tomorrow and have them adjust it or cut it if needed. It'll grow back." "I'll do that," Daniel agreed. "I'll have them fix the perm." Laura wrapped him in a comforting hug. "I appreciate everything you're doing for me. I love you, and I don't want you hurt anymore." They reached a compromise that felt fair for both, a balance of care, love, and understanding. True love, as always, shone through. If you appreciated this story and wish to show your support, don't forget to join me on Patreon for exclusive content.